encampments emerging in Saskatoon, how frontline workers are dealing with the situation that's getting worse and putting safety at risk. A healthcare hub south of Saskatoon, the vision of how virtual care will be delivered. And the photos worth more than 1,000 words.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with Saskatoon's homelessness crisis. Officials say encampments are not only growing in number, they're growing in size. And as Keenan Sorokon reports, they're becoming a bigger priority and concern for the fire department as they see more people choosing to live on the streets.
Rwanda Smith looked on as a homeless encampment near Avenue M and 20th Street was being torn down. These encampments present a number of concerns for the city, but for Smith, they're home.
We're just staying where we can, and usually we get the boots from everywhere, even if it's not in anyone's way.
Fire inspectors estimate 30 to 40 people were camped here. Most encampments have 4 or 5 people, making this one, positioned right next to the temporary public washrooms, one of the biggest in the city.
Give them a spot then, and leave them alone. Quit making them move their homes. Their life's hard enough.
Unfortunately for Smith, that's exactly the situation the fire department is looking to avoid. Deputy Fire Chief Yvonne Raymer says if crews don't clear out an encampment within 48 hours, they can quickly become dangerous.
Just this week, we know of 2 violent assaults within encampments, so that's a big concern.
Raymer says centralized encampments Smith and other homeless people are calling for haven't worked in any other city in Canada so far.
There's people who will start selling drugs within them. There's human trafficking happening within them. This isn't an understanding of one another. This is just surviving, and sometimes the unpredictable behavior becomes very unsafe.
Clifford Semchishin says people at this encampment were stashing weapons, and he agrees with the city's policy.
People are after you, trying to rob you, trying to take whatever you had on you. So I'm very happy that this is all gone.
More than 1,200 encampments have been recorded across 70 neighborhoods in Saskatoon this year. Crews have had to clear out and clean up more than 350, compared to a little over 200 last year. And Raymer doesn't see that trend changing anytime soon.
I feel like if we don't do something and we don't turn things around, we're never getting out of this.
Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A woman has died following a crash south of Saskatoon this morning. Emergency crews responded to the collision just before 7:30 along Highway 219 near Township Road 352. RCMP say 2 minivans collided. A 48-year-old woman driving one of them died at the scene. She has been identified as being from a community in southeastern Saskatchewan. The man driving the other minivan was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Neither vehicle had any passengers. Investigators are looking into what contributed to the collision, but emergency crews said there was heavy fog at the time and zero visibility in some areas. Heavy fog also likely a factor in a crash south of Nipawin this morning. RCMP say 3 vehicles collided on Highway 35. No other details are available, but officers at the scene reported visibility at the crash scene was reduced with zero visibility in some areas. The NDP wants the provincial auditor to investigate the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency's purchase of 4 firefighting planes. A CBC report suggested the province overpaid by as much as $100 million for aircraft because it structured the procurement process to favor one supplier over another potential competitor. It says an aircraft supplier in BC is now taking legal action. The NDP is asking the auditor to determine if the province held a fair and competitive tendering process, and says the report alleges the Sask Party bent the rules in favor of one company, resulting in an enormous expense to taxpayers.
The people of Saskatchewan deserve to know whether public safety decisions were compromised and whether their money was spent responsibly.
In an email to CTV, the provincial government said it relied on advice from an independent nonprofit research and development company during the procurement process, and said specifications were designed to ensure the aircrafts would meet the SPSA's operational needs and infrastructure requirements. The province says it remains committed to a robust wildfire response that is in the best interest of Saskatchewan people. It says it will not be commenting further as the matter is before the courts. Some residents hardest hit by this wildfire season are being offered temporary homes. The province says municipal leaders from the village of Denair Beach, the town of Creighton, and officials with the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency shared their plan to help displaced residents over the winter months. The plan includes up to 35 temporary modular homes in Creighton and Denair Beach, which are expected to be available next month. It's estimated Denair Beach lost 300 out of its 400 homes to wildfire this year. But Jeff, you might get rain in parts of the province. Just depends where you are, I guess.
Yes, and it looks as though if you're in the southeast or heading to the Ryder game, it could be a lot of rain. And if not a lot of rain, certainly some inclement weather. By that I mean thunderstorm activity, and it could have the worst timing of all. In other words, close to the kickoff. But more on that later. We are keeping an eye on this radar. They're already dealing with some thunderstorms in the Regina area right now. We had a little rain in and around the airport in Saskatoon, but nothing's really added up to anything significant so far. But you can certainly see a lot more in the way of active weather to the east of Saskatoon. So we'll find out more about our active weather pattern later on.
Leaders at Whitecap Dakota First Nation gathered at the future site of a virtual health hub earlier today. John Flatters takes a look at what is hoped will be a model for healthcare in the future.
Construction is underway as workers are moving earth preparing to build a new virtual health hub on Whitecap Dakota First Nation.
We were the inventors of Medicare, and I feel that the virtual health hub is the next stage. Is actually the medicine chest of the future.
Community leaders, members of the provincial government, as well as the Minister of Indigenous Services, Mandy Galmasti, heard a presentation by Dr. Mendez about the vision and focus of the virtual health hub.
He really spoke to the innovation that this project is delivering in community, and I cannot stress that I was blown away by the level of shift he was bringing in the mindset of healthcare delivery in remote Indigenous community.
The hub is designed to provide healthcare services to rural and remote communities and First Nations from a centralized location using virtual technology and robotics. It's also intended to ease the pressure on emergency rooms by assessing and treating patients before they come to a hospital, which was proven during a pilot project in Saskatoon.
And in one given month, there would have been 58 people transported to the ER room, emergency room. And because of the technology we had, only 8 people had to actually go to the emergency room.
Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says discussions are underway with Dr. Mendez and the SHA to make sure services are integrated well in the event a patient does need to leave home for health care.
Should any of these patients from the north need to come to a tertiary center after that ultrasound occurs or after other services occur, we want to make sure that experience will be seamless for patients coming from the north.
Mendez hopes this model of care can be implemented not just in rural settings, but urban too.
We hope that this model is a little bit like the tail that will wag the dog. That will be a model that can be instituted into the mainstream healthcare system.
Construction is expected to be complete in 2027. John Flatters, CTV News, Whitecap, Dakota First Nation.
A company that is building a copper mine in northern Saskatchewan is happy to be included on the Prime Minister's list of nation-building projects. But the province and the federal Conservatives are disappointed Ottawa did not include an oil pipeline. Wayne Mantika has more.
Construction is well underway on a billion-dollar copper mine near Creighton in northern Saskatchewan. The Prime Minister wants regulatory approvals expedited. The company says the current phase has approvals in place, but it will be helpful for future expansion.
We are fully permitted for the McIlvena Bay mine, but already looking at what we can do with phase 2, so there will be future permits that this should help with.
This week, the Prime Minister included 5 major projects on his nation-building list, including expansion of a liquefied natural gas facility in Kitimat, BC, and the country's first modular reactor in Ontario. The Conservative opposition is disappointed that there was no mention of a pipeline.
And the fact that there's no pipelines on this list means there won't be new jobs at Regina Steel Factory, and it means that there won't be new opportunities to develop Saskatchewan's oil and gas. So that's devastating. The world wants more Canadian energy.
The province unveiled a new critical mining investment incentive to coincide with the federal announcement. The NDP support the copper mine, but question the priorities.
There are no projects announced today related to new pipelines, rail capacity, or Saskatchewan power generation.
The 5 projects on the Prime Minister's nation-building list represent the first round. More are expected, with Ottawa not excluding a pipeline for fast-tracking if a proposal is received. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan Indian Gaming Authority has been fined over $1.1 million for not following administrative regulations under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act. The fine was levied by the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, also known as FinTrack. The organization says it found SIGA violated administrative regulations meant to prevent money laundering. The violations include failing to submit suspicious transaction reports where there were reasonable grounds to suspect that transactions were related to a money laundering or terrorist activity financing offense. FinTrack also says SIGA failed to report suspicious transactions with prescribed information and develop and apply written compliance policies that are up to date and in the case of an entity approved by a senior officer. SIGA says the penalty is only for administrative reporting requirements and there is no money laundering or terrorist financing at any of its SIGA properties. It says it does not agree with the violations found by FinTrack and will be appealing it along with the penalties assessed by federal court. Saskatoon police are warning of a scam involving its non-emergency phone number. SPS says earlier today it received several reports from people saying they received calls that appear to be from the service's non-emergency line. They said the caller told them they were an officer with the Saskatoon Police Service and requested information related to a police file. SPS says the calls appear to be directed to out-of-province communities in Alberta and BC. In most cases, the people who got the calls hung up on the scammer, and police say they haven't received any reports of fraud. The Luseland Police Service is also reporting a similar scam making its rounds. If you have plans to head south for the Rider game, prepare to plan ahead and pack your patience. The game, along with a major concert and other Queen City events, are expected to make for a busy time. Damien Smith with the details.
It's a quiet day here on Friday afternoon, but tomorrow should be a very busy day at the Real District with many events going on, with parking on the minds of many people.
Yes, we understand that there's going to be, it's going to get a little bit crazy. It's going to be some fun trying to find some parking. We do encourage people to do, perhaps take public transit for this one day.
From 9 a.m. to almost midnight, there will be limited space to park around the complex, with at least 6 events taking place on Saturday. The Farmers Market opens up at 9 a.m., followed by the Galaxy Psychic Fair at 10, the Party in the Park at 2, ahead of the Rider game at 5, a Cougars men's game at 2:30, capping off with a Keith Urban concert at 7 p.m. But Real believes they're prepared for anything, especially after the cancellation of a Rider game earlier in the season due to wildfire smoke.
Well, we're getting really good at executing in extraordinary circumstances. We sat tight till later in the evening and rescheduled the game. So we executed back-to-back CFL games. Labor Day Classic was an absolute sellout and really tested everybody on the team in terms of delivering incredible services. So I think this is what we do on a day-in, day-out basis.
Bennett says organizers are ready for a busy weekend ahead and is advising attendees to use their time to their advantage.
Be prepared for moving around a little slower on the district as well as the adjacent communities, but we've worked incredibly hard with RPS, the City of Regina, to enhance the traffic flow, extend the green light signals coming off of Louvain, as well as stronger presence in terms of traffic control throughout the district.
Real also recommends visitors to carpool, use taxi services, or park off-site to save space in the area. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
A new exhibit on this month in Prince Albert aims to be picture perfect. Jasmine Pelche on the annual event and what visitors can expect.
And then about 3 weeks later, Kendall Kerr has been a member of the Northern Image Photographers Club for almost 10 years, but says it was his first year organizing the annual show.
A lot of people don't have an opportunity to show their works to other people other than maybe family or friends. It allows them to challenge themselves.
Kerr participated as well, submitting 2 photographs. He says a graffitied wall on his regular walks was a source of inspiration.
One day I noticed that somebody had blacked out somebody's name. So that's why I called it censored. And then about 3 weeks later, the city hired a contractor who came by and pressure washed all the names off.
Man Art Gallery interim artistic director Jesse Campbell chose this year's theme of correspondence.
Do you want to encourage the group to explore perhaps new and different avenues, but you don't want to be too challenging for them that they'll shy away from it?
The show's top honor, the Jeff Payton Memorial Award, was given to photographer Agnes LaRue for her photograph Message to Heaven. Kerr says that clubs like Northern Image Photographers bring the community together.
It's an avenue for people who want to express themselves and in a healthy way to other people, and also an opportunity for members or for the general public to get together with other like-minded people.
The annual exhibition is on display at the John B. Hicks Gallery in the Margot Fournier Arts Centre. The show opened on September 1st and runs until September 23rd. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Some familiar faces were honored today as Indigenous leaders in our province. Nelson Bird, former Indigenous Circle host, longtime reporter for CTV Saskatchewan, and an assignment editor, was among those receiving the first annual Okama Awards. Kristen Ajkute, also a former Indigenous Circle host and CTV reporter, honored with the award. A total of 16 awards were presented, which honored people in several categories, including creative arts, business, sports, and justice.
To honor and celebrate Indigenous men doing some amazing things for their communities, and just, you know, showing them that they are seen and they're acknowledged, and that, you know, just that they're amazing.
Okama is the Cree word for chief or leader. Still to come, the latest on the manhunt in the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. Also, we hear from the Manitoba Mountie injured while responding to a mass stabbing earlier this month. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. After 3 days of an intense manhunt in connection with the killing of a popular conservative influencer, Charlie Kirk, police say they now have a suspect in custody. Joey Melvin with what we know about the shooter so far.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
With those words, authorities identified 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah as a suspect in connection with the targeted killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. After these images were released last night and a video of a suspect jumping from a rooftop, police say Robinson's father confronted his son and, with the help of a youth pastor, convinced him to turn himself in.
A family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
A family member told investigators Robinson had become more political, expressing anger in chat groups and to friends.
Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
Police found a high-powered rifle and bullet casings with disturbing messages. As for motive, here's what the governor said.
The clearest one that says catch fascist, there's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. I think that speaks for itself.
Kirk, a husband and father, was a rock star in the MAGA movement, debating controversial subjects like transgender issues, and a fierce ally of Donald Trump, who broke the news on air.
I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
As Utah's governor pleaded for political healing.
This is our moment. Do we escalate or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice.
Robinson was arrested and charged with aggravated murder. He faces federal charges next week. Police believe he acted alone and is being held without bail. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
The RCMP officer seriously injured in a highway crash while responding to a mass stabbing on a Manitoba First Nation says the tragedy will stay with her forever. In a statement released today, Corporal Brianne Bartmanovich says she has served Hollow Water First Nation for 7 years and her thoughts are with the victims. She adds that she's hopeful everyone will be able to heal. Police have said 26-year-old Tyrone Simard killed his 18-year-old sister and wounded 7 others at 2 homes on the First Nation northeast of Winnipeg on September 2nd. They said Simard fled in a stolen vehicle and died in a crash with the RCMP cruiser Corporal Bartmanovich was driving. Bartmanovich says she's recovering and thanks hospital staff for their kindness and dedication. 1,200 electric school buses have been pulled off the road in Quebec after one bus burst into flames earlier this week. This Lion electric bus caught fire in Montreal on Tuesday. The driver and 6 students managed to escape without injury. The rest of the fleet has been taken out of service as a precautionary measure. The vehicles will undergo inspection this weekend. The NHL is reinstating 5 players who were acquitted on sexual assault charges in connection with an incident in London, Ontario in 2018. The decision means that Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, and Alex Formanton can sign contracts if any teams express interest starting October 15th. They would then be eligible to play December 1st. In July, the 5 former members of Canada's World Junior team were acquitted of all charges but were still ineligible to play in the NHL. Pending a league investigation. Surviving the trade war with the U.S. requires getting Canadian goods to more markets. That's why 2 ports are on the major projects list. Judy Trin takes a look at projects in Quebec and Manitoba.
Expanding the Port of Montreal is one of the major projects on the fast track for approval. It's a gateway to new markets in Northern Europe and Africa.
We'll advance projects that turbocharge and connect our regional economies.
The port is bursting. Authorities say if it doesn't increase its capacity, Canadian companies may have to go through U.S. ports to ship across the Atlantic Ocean.
If Canadian companies that are now exporting to the U.S. choose another destination, with a modest 6%, the Port of Montreal will be full. So if we don't have any more capacity, what will happen is those companies will use an American port.
When it's built, the Contrecoeur terminal will reduce emissions while increasing the port's capacity by more than 1 million containers. The federal government is promising to greenlight construction this fall so the project can be finished by 2030.
The Major Projects Office will enable us to take those final steps as quickly as possible.
We are referring Port of Churchill Plus.
The port in northern Manitoba is also being considered for streamlined approvals. It's an Indigenous-led project. The plans here include using icebreakers to extend operations beyond the summer and improving roads and train routes to bring resources from the west to ship out.
So that customers can go on a year-round or close to year-round basis. So that's really the game changer, and it really allows us to diversify that trade to Europe and diversify ourselves away from the U.S.
Building a port in the Arctic is also under consideration for fast tracking. The goal for these projects of national importance is to have them approved within 2 years. Once that happens, they'll also be in line for significant federal funding. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The union representing Canada Post workers is making a couple of changes amid stalled contract talks with the Crown Corporation. A ban on overtime work by employees will be ended. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says the move follows concerns by the corporation about its impact on operations. But starting on Monday at 12:01 a.m., workers will stop delivering commercial flyers to homes and businesses. The union says it hopes the change will help secure a deal before the lucrative holiday rush. Canada Post says it is disappointed disappointed with the flyer ban, which will affect Canadian businesses that use the service and the corporation's finances. In the Middle East, health authorities in the Gaza Strip say Israeli strikes killed at least 40 Palestinians today. Most of the casualties occurred in Gaza City, where many residents are staying put despite Israeli evacuation orders because they have nowhere safe to go. Israel has stated its intention to take full control of the city. In New York, the UN General Assembly voted to support a two-state solution and urge Israel to commit to a Palestinian state. The non-binding resolution endorses a declaration that sets out a phased plan to end the nearly 80-year conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. Hours before the vote, Israel's prime minister said there will be no Palestinian state. All right, Jeff. It's been a warm week, but we are getting a few sprinkles here and there.
A few sprinkles here and there. We had a little something up by the airport. It didn't add up to much. We did have a report from the Bradwell area. They've had at least an inch of rain in Bradwell in the last hour. So there is some inclement weather and intense weather in some respects to the east and southeast of Saskatoon. But we'll keep our eye on that. We also had someone send in some pictures from a rain gauge. I'm getting a better read on those numbers in a little bit. But yes, in and around Saskatoon, there's been some rain in the last hour or so. 20 degrees right now in Saskatoon under cloudy skies, a lot warmer in Prince Albert and the Battlefords, where it's 26 in both locations, and moderate, light to moderate winds. We're just going to go with light winds, basically around 10 clicks. That's not much of a wind. The daytime high for Saskatoon, 25 degrees. That's 6 degrees above seasonal, but nowhere near the record of 29 set in 1937. The record cold temperature, a chilly -6 in 1923. Not so roaring 20s there, is it? 6:36 is when the sun came up, and it's going to go down at 7:29.
Well, coming up, a piece of Saskatchewan's past preserved, how the province's former transportation service is being remembered.
All right, welcome back. Well, it's fairly picturesque right now, but as I mentioned, we're going to check the location, but we have had a report of the rain gauge I was talking about earlier. Robert sent us in a number, and it was like 3 3/4 inches, so we're going to find out exactly where the location. It might be just east of the city, but things look not too bad right now. But here's where the active weather is. You can see things blowing up as we make our way closer to the current time, and so certainly in and around the Regina area and east of Saskatoon is where we're seeing a lot of the rain. So yes, things are going to be unsettled into tomorrow as well. We'll talk about that in a bit. 20 degrees in Saskatoon, 26 in Prince Albert and the Battlefords. Our hot spot today, that was Nipawin at 28 degrees. Key Lake for the second day in a row, the provincial cold spot, 3 degrees today. There was 2 yesterday, so it warmed up a degree. 26 degrees right now in Lloydminster, 23 in Swift Current and Estevan and Yorkton, 25 in the Jaw, and 18 in Regina. As we take a look at central parts of the province and the northern grain belt, as you can see, temperatures ranging from 23 degrees in Spiritwood up to 26 in a number of locations. So yeah, we got ourselves Saskatoon at 20 degrees, a little bit of that rain cooling things off at the airport, but temperatures in those low to mid 20s, and that's true of northern Saskatchewan as well. We've got ourselves 26 degrees in Buffalo Narrows and Stony Rapids, 23 in Collins Bay and Sandy Bay Island Falls. Down south, well, there has been some rain in the area, so things have cooled off, but temperatures are still in the 20s in most places. The warmest it gets, though, and that is 25, and that's Last Mountain Regional Park. Moving on, here we go to our futurecast. So tomorrow, this is what we're taking a look at. As we go through the latter part of the day, a low-pressure system out in the States starts to push northward, and with it, some really inclement weather. And so right now, there is thunderstorm activity expected in and around kickoff, which is around 5 o'clock in the Queen City. So I have to keep our eye on that right now. Just to the east of Regina, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And of course, we're still dealing with poor air quality alerts in northern Saskatchewan. Cloudy skies in La Ronge tomorrow, 24. Otherwise, we're looking at sunshine or mainly sunny skies for Stony Rapids, Buffalo Narrows, and Key Lake, and temperatures of around 27 degrees. Temperature of 26 degrees in Meadow Lake with a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. Risk of some showers in Spiritwood, 23. 26 in Kindersley, 25 in Rosetown. Temperatures hanging around that 24, 25 degree mark in the southwest with mainly cloudy skies, mainly showery and thundery for the southeastern part of Saskatchewan with temperatures in the high teens, low 20s, and Temperatures warm up ever so slightly in east central Saskatchewan, but Watrous and Humboldt both anticipating showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. As we make our way towards the Battlefords, 10 degrees overnight, 26 tomorrow. And then as we take a look at the long-range forecast, a chance of showers on Sunday, and then a downward trend temperature-wise. So by the time we get to Thursday of next week, a temperature high of just 15 for the Battlefords region. For Prince Albert, a slight chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm tonight, 12 degrees, 23 tomorrow. On Sunday, 21 with a chance of showers, and that chance of showers lingers through to Wednesday, and temperatures start to drop off. By Thursday of next week, a high of just 12 degrees. In Saskatoon, chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm, some fog patches showing up in the overnight, 13 degrees the overnight temperature, warming up 10 degrees for a high of 23 on Saturday. Things are looking actually not too bad for Saturday here in Saskatoon, and 22 on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, there's also a chance of some showers with temperatures starting to drop off, and by the time we hit next Wednesday, it's 14. Thursday and Friday, warming back up to 16, but that's still below seasonal. A new archive of David Bowie's life and career is about to open to the public. Starting tomorrow, UK fans of the late British music legend will be able to access the 90,000-item collection, including photographs, costumes, musical instruments, and his personal notebooks. The archive is being stored at the David Bowie Centre in the V and East Storehouse Museum in London.
We're kidding ourselves if we think people will stop talking.
You're one of the Monterey Five, right?
Reports out of Hollywood suggest a popular HBO series is making a return. Little Big Lies tells the story of a group of California mothers whose lives are turned upside down by a homicide investigation. The show is an adaptation of the writing by Leanne Moriarty, and she's planning to release a sequel next year. Variety is reporting deals are in place to produce a third season with Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon again leading the cast. Season 2 was released in 2019.
Is coming.
I'm not afraid. I'll do anything for my brother.
We're going to...
And speaking of follow-ups, we're learning more about the planned sequel to 2023's The Super Mario Brothers movie. It was the most successful video game movie adaptation to date. We've known for some time that a second one was coming. Universal now says the sequel will be called The Super Mario Galaxy Movie, a nod to the popular 2007 video game. It'll be out in April of next year.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day, Friday edition. What do you have?
We have 4 pictures today, and we're going to start off with this one, Chantel. This one comes to us from Giselle, and she simply titles it Silver Spring Sunset, and that is a lovely shot. Nice little flare on the lens there. So thank you, Giselle. Looking very nice. And this one from Doug Podluck, our former colleague here at CTV. He often sends us astronomical things, and this is no exception. Hi, Jeff. Here's a shot of the September corn moon taken on September 7th. It's the last full moon of the summer. Why, thank you for that fun fact, Douglas, and thank you for the image. It's a lovely shot. This is lovely as well. What lake is this? Well, it's that big lake just off the coast of Canada. This comes to us from, I believe this is from Daryl, and Daryl says, this is a picture I took September 5th, south of Halifax. I call it sunrise with approaching storm over the Atlantic with Venus. Well, it's a lovely shot of the Atlantic there, and yeah, some beautiful country off our east coast from Canada's ocean playground. That's what Nova Scotia is. Don't you roll my eyes, because it says it on their license plates. And this one, we love this one, come Joe. He says, while picking green tomatoes, I found this one looking back at me. The photo is completely unaltered. And when I first saw it, I thought of either Fiona Apple or Teresa Sakirka. So yeah, those interesting and unique glasses there. So thank you, Joe, for sharing that image with us. If you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come on CTV News, a part of Saskatchewan's former transportation system rolls into history, where you can learn more about what was once STC. It's been 8 years since STC discontinued operations in the province. The Crown Corporation provided bus transportation for Saskatchewan residents that span more than 70 years. Now, a bus formerly owned by STC is going on display at Moose Jaw's Western Development Museum. Wayne Mantika has the story.
Mike Stobbs and a group of volunteers are preparing to move a bus into Moose Jaw's Western Development Museum.
It's in excellent shape mechanically. We had it running about a month ago. The air brakes work, transmission works, the starter works, so we just got to hook up power to it and get her going.
The bus had been donated by STC to the Western Development Museum following the 2017 shutdown of the Crown Corporation.
And it has sat in storage up at our corporate office in Saskatoon for a number of years. We've recently had some changes happening in our land gallery here at the WDM Moose Jaw, and it's a fantastic way to bring this piece out from behind the scenes and have it on public display for the first time.
STC was founded in 1946 and served 253 communities in Saskatchewan. However, declining ridership and the need for government subsidies of about $17 million a year led to the decision to cease operation. The bus exhibit at the WDM will recognize the company's legacy.
We're a very spread out sort of province. Our population is scattered, and a lot of folks grew up and used the buses to get from one place to another. It was a very common thing. And I know even currently some folks lament the passing of that, but we do have modern vehicles and improved roadways, so transportation has become a little bit easier over time, but this sure is a time capsule from another era.
The motor fired up, and this former STC bus made a short final run into history. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
When we come back, the riders get ready to return to the field for game day. And later, the replica roller coaster garnering thousands of views.
All right, let's talk about welcome back, and we'll talk about the rural forecast in just a second or two here, but I did want to give you an update on the rain and where it's been falling. As we had mentioned earlier on, that we had a report of 1 inch of rain near Bradwell, well, 18 miles south of Bradwell in the Sunny Valley District area. We had at least one report from Robert, as I mentioned, who has his rain gauge is indicating 3 3/4 inches of rain, and so a lot of rain has been falling in localized areas, so it's been isolated in nature, but where it hits hard, it seems, though. That's nasty. Might be in for some nasty weather in some locales north and south of the Yellowhead tomorrow. As you can see, the possibility of some thunderstorm activity is certainly there from Meadow Lake and Spiritwood and Watrous and Wynyard, so essentially along the Yellowhead in so many respects. 24 degrees with cloudy conditions in outlook. Looking at Kindersley, 26 degrees. Hudson Bay, 24. Down south, it looks like south central and southeastern Saskatchewan will be the locus of the thunderstorm activity, so we'll keep our eye on the timing, as you mentioned earlier on, particularly with regard to the Riders game tomorrow, which kickoff time is 5 o'clock. For the Herbert area, they're just sort of right on the edge of the system, so there could be some thunderstorm activity and temperatures of around 21 degrees, winds out of the southeast at 20. And Herbert is where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Both the Saskatoon Hilltops and the U of S Huskies look to keep their winning streaks alive this weekend. The Huskies take their perfect 2-0 record to Winnipeg tomorrow for a game with the winless Manitoba Bisons. Saskatchewan is coming off a dominant 51-14 win over the UBC Thunderbirds last week in the Husky homecoming game in Saskatoon. And the Hilltops, who have won 3 straight after dropping their season opener, travel to Calgary to battle the Colts on Sunday. Saskatoon is tied with Regina for the best record in the Prairie Football Conference at 3-1. The Saskatchewan Roughriders head into tomorrow's game against the Montreal Alouettes with a couple of question marks in their defensive secondary. Jacob Carr explains.
For the Riders, the status of both cornerbacks Marcus Sales and Tavon Campbell for Saturday's game is in question. Both are listed as game-time decisions on the team's official depth chart. And Saskatchewan head coach Corey Mace did not provide much more clarity on the situation.
But certainly from what we're hearing is that if he can, he can. So that's really good. And then, the other one, the man, we call him Wolverine. I don't know. He heals up good, and he's been a game time before. So feeling pretty confident with that.
If either Sales or Campbell are to miss the game, the Riders may elevate Benny Sept III to man one of the starting cornerback spots, and the veterans in the defensive backfield say he will be ready if called upon.
He asks a lot of questions, you know what I'm saying? He makes sure that he's locked in on what we got going on. Anything he doesn't understand, he double checks with multiple people just to make sure he's on the right page. And you know, as far as football, you know, he's a football player, so he's gonna go out there and make plays. He made plays during practice this week.
Sept says joining the likes of Roland Milligan Jr. and DeMarcus Fields in the secondary in front of the Mosaic Stadium faithful would have him amped up.
I'm already an energetic person. If I do get that nod tomorrow, you guys definitely gonna see me not necessarily get out my body, but I'm definitely gonna bring a lot of energy, and I really can't wait. Like, it gives you kind of goosebumps, if I'm being honest.
One thing that is for certain is Kosi Onyeka will make his second consecutive start at safety with both Nelson Locombo and Jackson Ford out of the lineup. Onyeka told CTV News he wants to build on his first start in Winnipeg.
They want me to be aggressive when my plays are there. They want me to make my plays, so that's really what I'm keying in on this week and emphasizing this week is making my plays when when my number is called.
Kickoff is at 5 p.m. on Saturday at Mosaic Stadium. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The federal office created to fast-track infrastructure projects could put Canadians on a fast track when they travel between Ontario and Quebec. Marilla Fernandez has tonight's business report.
The federal government wants shovels in the ground on a high-speed rail line in 4 years. The 1,000-kilometer corridor would run between Toronto and Quebec City, zipping passengers along at 300 kilometers an hour. The trade minister says the new major projects office will work to speed up engineering and other work, even though this didn't make the initial list of projects announced by the Prime Minister on Thursday. Here's a look at how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.23. West Texas Intermediate is up just a bit to 62.19. Western Canadian Select is down over $1 to 50.80. And the TSX dropped 124 points today, ending the week at 29,283. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up, Jaws like you've never seen it before. Then the mini model of a ride dubbed Canada's most thrilling roller coaster.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Well, Steven Spielberg is giving a thumbs up to a new exhibit celebrating Jaws. In honor of the film's 50th anniversary, the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures is opening Jaws, the exhibition. Spielberg says the exhibit in Los Angeles takes him back 51 years ago to Martha's Vineyard when he was shooting the famous film. It has more than 200 original objects from the movie. Many of them have never been on public display before. It will be open until next July. So lots
that
of
is
time
totally cool.
Take it in.
Yes.
I think you'll like this last story tonight. A British man has created a stunning and working replica of one of Canada's most thrilling roller coasters. It took about 6 weeks to recreate Canada's Wonderland's Yukon Striker using around 60,000 Kinnex pieces, which are toy building blocks similar to Lego. The Striker is the world's tallest and fastest dive coaster, meaning it includes a heart-racing 90-degree drop. The creator's YouTube video, which shows how the track was built and the train 3D printed, has tens of thousands of views.
That is very cool. You're right. I do like this.
Yeah,
very cool. I drove by this. It's out in the Vaughan area.
The big one?
Yeah, the real one.
Yeah.
Kind of
you didn't go?
Wonderland. No, I thought, seriously, I considered taking a day away from movies at TIFF to go to a roller coaster. Good times, but I decided not to. Let's take a quick look at our numbers for tomorrow. These are our temperatures, 17, 21, 22, mainly cloudy skies, sort of straight through throughout the day. So this is the big deal of the day. Around game time, it could be 19 degrees, winds out of the southeast 20, but the important thing is there is a very strong possibility of showers and thunderstorms. So take that in mind. Keep that in mind if you're heading down to Regina for the game, and hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully the thunderstorms get through there fast or stay away.
Hopefully.
hopefully.
All right, well, hopefully the rain stays away for the mouth-watering good time that is underway in Saskatoon. The Western Canada Rib Fest Tour is returned for another year. Food trucks will be serving up your favorites along with lots of entertainment. Rib Fest runs again tomorrow and again on Sunday. That's what we'll leave you with. I hope you're not too hungry. Have a great and safe weekend. Thanks for watching.